All right, well, let's take a look at this Telegraph story where refusing to buy your partner a new outfit could actually get you in trouble. Well, according to the CPS, Nick, what's this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't say this lightly, but this might be the most insane story we've ever covered on this show. This is breaking news from Clown World. Refusing to fund your partner's gender transition could be domestic abuse, according to the Crown Prosecution Service, which has listed 9 types of behaviour, right, which could amount to abuse of trans or non-binary people, and no one knows what non-binary people are even. And these include withholding money for transitioning. So you just refuse to pay for gender surgery or counselling, and that's domestic abuse. I mean, the most insane, unworkable, just bizarre policy.
No, apparently these guidelines came out last year. They've only just been noticed because the CPS didn't really draw attention to them. They just sort of smuggled them out there. Yeah. But they are quite extreme. You know, the idea that if you're in a relationship and your partner transitions and you refuse to use the pronouns that this partner wants you to use, then you could be considered abusive by the Crown Prosecution Service.
Yeah. And look at the criteria here. Like, gender identity is when you know your gender. What you know your gender to be, and can only be decided by the individual for themselves. So they could change it, as we know, on a whim. You misgender them one day, you're an abuser.
Now, this is very serious, Lewis, because, you know, I've read the text that the Crown Prosecution Service have put out there. It uses all of the language of gender ideology. It suggests this institution is completely captured. They use phrases such as cisgender, sex assigned at birth. These are phrases that a small pseudo-religious group in this country believe, but the vast majority of us don't. It doesn't matter when the activists go on about this stuff and start using phrases like cisgender. Yeah. When the Crown Prosecution Service is doing it, that matters, doesn't it?
Well, it does matter, but it's so deep. And this is just one more example of the death of love. Is that people in relationships? Why would you be in a relationship if you're going to have to pay for your boy, girlfriend, whatever it is, transition surgery?
I think that might be a side point.
It is. No, it's the main point.
I was thinking though, because I thought it was marriage at first. I was thinking this is another blow for marriage, but actually it just says partner.
Yeah.
Because this is any relationship.
It could be any relationship.
And it's dangerous.
But it's also, and I'm not going to say, it's like my girlfriend accused me of abusing her because I refused to pay for her new Louis Vuitton bag.
Okay.
And she felt that was important.
Well, luckily for you, there isn't a section in the CPS guidelines that particularly relates to couture.
But you know what? It will be, and it is heading in that direction. Well, if you know anything about what's considered abuse, if I say to my girlfriend, my wife, I don't think you should see your friend because your friend is a bad person, that could be considered abuse because you're denying your friend the ability to be with.
Well, I mean,
do you have a distinction between what you say to your girlfriend and your wife? Is it because getting those two?
Yeah.
Don't get them mixed up.
Because I'm very mixed.
But Nick, this is actually very serious because it's the CPS, right?
Yeah.
Because if they're going to put the level of what they consider to be domestic abuse so low that it comes down, it actually verges on compelled speech. Because what they're suggesting is that wives and husbands who are in that situation have to use the language that their partners demand.
Yeah, but it's not just compelled speech, Andrew, it's compelled money, which is even worse.
Right.
In fact, you'd have to pay for the surgery.
I think the CPS is pretty captured at this point. They've been putting out dodgy ideas. They've been suggesting to schoolgirls that they should accept boys in their toilets. For instance, they've put out materials that are pretty dodgy. I think, and I know the CPS is separate from the government, but surely the government at some point has to step in and say...
Well, it's like with the Bank of England being run by, trying to get in the Stonewall diversity tale, and they say that men can give birth now. So
very, very worrying.